Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Chai and Chill podcast. Today, I'm accompanied with Ali Wardach and Dr. Mohammed Khalid. Just quickly before we begin, this is a disclaimer that anything that we say here should be taken into some logical, thought process. Obviously, consult your physician, your primary care physician, if anything goes wrong, or if you want to start something. Obviously, before doing anything, look into it and talk to your physician. So, guys, today our topic is gym with coronavirus and where to start. If people want to go into the gym. So I did some statistics gathering, and I saw some shocking numbers. So from 1999 to 2000, the obesity percentage in the U.S. was around 30%. So that's like around one third. Then it had jumped around 12.4% from 2000 to 2010. So, that's a jump. And now we're in 2021, obviously. So that's 11 years. So now you can judge like where we are around. We might be around like 1/2% of each person is obese. And Dr. Khalid, based off that assumption, you can kind of like put some validity on it since you've done some internships and stuff like that.
Yeah, the the exact details of what happened during, the time frame that you were mentioning is something I'm not particularly aware of. But if we're speaking in generalities, and even if we consider today, um, we had to consider how much easier and more feasible it is to get unhealthy foods.
Hmm.
Um, you got McDonald's or other fast food options that are offering you a significant amount of food for a few dollars. Whereas if you spent that few dollars at the local grocery store, you would maybe get a few small things that wouldn't even let you prepare a meal. So I think that socioeconomic status, as well as the cost effectiveness of getting cheap food that is pretty unhealthy for you, played a pretty significant role in that. But hopefully, with the movement towards healthier options and people becoming more aware of their health and diet, we'll see that change over the
And
next.
Ali, this is a question for you. You've been working. You've worked at hotels. You've worked at other places in the U.S. in terms. Have you seen each person that steps into that place you work around, like if there's one person, that next person to them is obese or overweight? Can you confirm that for me?
Honestly, it's not that depends if a lot of people who are coming from the warmer areas where
No, no, like I mean, you're just working, and each
yeah,
person you see, you're obviously, do you see more
no,
bigger people?
no, not much. It's like I think I see more fit people these days.
Really? That's
Yeah,
somewhat interesting. I feel like, people that are more obese tend to stay in their houses as well. Because,
yeah.
like, it's just, that's an assumption, but,
Yeah,
it's,
that's what we can assume, I guess.
yeah.
But
So
yeah.
I did some number gathering, and I found out that people at the age between 18 and 39 are there's around 209.13 million people that are around that age gap. So doing that number, I found that 40% of those people between that age gap are obese. So that's around 83.6 million people that are between the age of 18 and 39 that are obese. Those are just the numbers I'm telling you guys. So looking into that, I looked back into gym memberships as well, and I saw that there's an increase of gym memberships over time, right? And that around 9 million so there's around 62.5 used gym memberships and 9 million unused gym memberships. So that's another statistic I want to tell you guys. So now looking into this, if you are someone, sitting at home that wants to get into the gym, but you have some like main reason why you don't want to go, what comes to your guys' mind? Particularly for me, I would say, there's kind of an embarrassment factor that, you're not in the most optimal form that you can be. You are overweight, you are obese, so you don't want to be seen like that. Maybe you've been going to the gym for a past couple weeks and you don't see, gains, so then you just kind of get discouraged. Or, there's that idea that once you go to the gym, you just start running on the treadmill, and that kind of creates a boredom factor. Do you guys agree with me on these statements, or it's totally fine to disagree?
I would agree with you. That does play a role. But there's many additional roles. If somebody's got some type of condition that limits their ability to do certain exercises or even be mobile in certain ways, you have to kind of tailor a way of exercising to that individual. So that might contribute sometimes. And then the saying goes, sometimes we're our own worst enemy, and due to lack of motivation or other mental lapses in terms of thinking positively about yourself and having the confidence to overcome those negative thoughts about yourself or your image, and being able to go to the gym, that certainly plays a role. So again, we have to evaluate many things when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. And Ali, you like going to the gym. You have been going to the gym for many years now. And do you agree on that standpoint as well? Or do you see people like in the gym that are more hesitant to do certain things?
Yeah, I've seen a couple people in the gym who are kind of like not that
Like what I
proactive
mean
in the.
by hesitant, like their form's kind of off, or they grab the dumbbells and like, are like only doing basic exercises or like doing them wrong type of thing, or
Yeah, I've seen couple peoples like that, but sometimes they will just go and ask some people who are kind of like doing the exercises in right way. So some people I've seen, they are not embarrassed to ask,
yeah.
and they kind of like tend to do it in a right way instead of continue doing it in a wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So now the follow-up question is, based off the things that we have said, how do you combat those negatives, of being embarrassed or not wanting to leave the home type of thing? How would you combat like boredom and like being impatient on stuff like that? Because particularly, I think for boredom, you have to incorporate, weightlifting instead of doing cardio all the time, and having a specific gym schedule.
I would say taking the first step for in going to gym is kind of like the is something that really matters, and obviously kind of like thinking about the positive aspects of going to gym, like it can really keep you away from the stress, it can keep you healthy and all that. Thinking
Mm-hmm.
about all the positivity about going to gym can also encourage you to continue going to gym.
Mm-hmm.
And if we, yeah, obviously if we think about the negative, like, oh, I'm gonna spend 2 hours of my day in the gym, obviously, and or I'm gonna stay away from my computer, or I am too much comfortable in my home, that those are kind of like cons of going to gym. But then if you think about like how positively it can affect on your health and all, that kind of like can encourage you to go to gym and all. I think that I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dr. Khalid, do you have anything to add?
Just the thought, we can speculate as to how we can overcome these things, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the individual. And the individual has certain limitations or reasons why they might not be going to the gym. And so I think the conversation has to be had with this person, and I would advise this person to seek out somebody that can help alleviate some of those concerns, like your primary care doctor, or somebody who is into fitness and something like that. It's good to have a conversation, and that can get things started. So
Yeah.
you don't have to jump into the gym environment right away.
So another thing is that exercise is needed to lose weight. Even if you're taking like weight loss medication, you still have to like go for walks and stuff like that. But I also read online from CNBC that obese women on average, get 1 hour of physical activity. I think they said per year, which seems a bit off. And then men get around 3 hours of activity per year, and this is for an average male. I may have read that wrong, but I think I read it right, which is really interesting. So what do you guys think is like, if those people were interested in going in the gym, what is the ideal scheduling? Like how many days that you should be going?
So I think even if it's um 2 days to begin with, or 3 days, it's reasonable. You don't need to go in and expect yourself to be there 3-4 days a week. Start off, see how it goes, how your body responds, how it recovers. But yeah, like at least dedicate. I would say at least at minimum 30 minutes is of activity that has your heart rate elevated is required to see some benefits. So get started, see how your body responds, see how it recovers, and then like if you're motivated and you feel good about the results, and if you don't injure yourself in the process, which is also an important factor, then by any means continue or increase the number of days and frequency that you go.
Yeah. So do you think those people that go, this is a pitch for Ollie specifically, since you're mostly in the gym and you've been there for a long time, have you seen people that go, 6 days a week to the gym make any more progress than you have? Because scientifically, if there's rest in between the days you work out, the body fixes muscle fibers, and then that's how you get more gains actually, because you recover from it. So visually, have you guys seen anything where people work out 6 days a week in the gym and get more progress than you?
That's true that you said like body needs some certain time of rest every week to kind of like increase the growth of muscles and all. And I particularly haven't seen like any major difference between the person who goes to a gym like 4 days a week with the person who goes 6 days a week. Depends. No, it depends also like how what type of exercises they are doing. If like if your goal is to get like really kind of like sharp muscles, like you really want to be shredded and all that, then obviously you need to go more often and you can do some high intensity workouts and all that. But if in general, if we are just talking about health, by the health point of view, then I think going to gym like 4 times or 5 times a day is enough for
By
someone
a
who is
day,
continuously going. But I think 6 days would not make much difference though.
little correction there. He meant 4 to 5 days a week, not 4 to 5 times a day.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 4 to 5 times a day. Yep. Oh, week. Week. Sorry.
Imagine you're basically working. That's your work life is gymming.
Right. Then you will just make work at gym though.
Mhm. So, in your opinion, I guess Dr. Khalid can start off with this. What do you think is more important versus like cardio, the importance of cardio and the importance of weightlifting? Which one should be done more? So you have 4 days in your gym schedule. How many days should you dedicate to, cardio? Like, cardio 2 days, or like, all the days weightlifting and then incorporating cardio in each? What is your routine that you guys do specifically?
I would say that you should do cardio every single day. Like after end of like when you are about to end your exercise for the day, just give 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to cardio. That does not include just on being a treadmill or something. You can do a lot of other exercises as well. But if you try different exercises, let's say you can put it like this: like Monday, I'm gonna spend 15 days on treadmill. Then Tuesday or the next day I'm going to do something else for cardio. So then your body will not be bored of like doing the same thing for cardio, so you can change a little bit, so that can like focus on because on the same day you are doing something for muscles as well, and then on this and the end of each workout session you are also focusing on cardio, which
Yeah.
is also you're gaining and burning out the fats as well.
All
If
right.
Dr. Mo want to add something on.
So I would recommend that there should be a few minutes of stretches or some type of warming up. You don't want to go straight into it because you do need to slowly work up that heart rate and kind of get the blood flowing through the muscles and stuff like that. I personally, my example is like I tend to like the Stairmaster. I know if you have limitations with your knees or being able to move, you might have limited ability to do that. But the Stairmaster is good. It's not too much of a strain like on your knees and stuff like that running on a treadmill. It's a smooth motion of walking up the stairs at a pace. Your heart rate gets elevated, your muscles are warmer, they're getting activated, and then I'll go into weightlifting, resistance, or weighted machine exercises. And those are basically the ones that are going to promote a lot of the metabolic activity in your heart in your body, and continue to burn the calories even after you've finished your workout. So you want to activate the muscles, and that's
so if someone was going to incorporate, using the Stairmaster elliptical or something like that, how many minutes would you recommend for their workout session? Like at least at 15,
Yeah, so warming up, I only do about 5 minutes. So you don't need an excess. If you're doing it to warm up and just kind of activate your body for the workout, 5 minutes is, I think, adequate. You're gonna get your heart rate up. You're gonna get your muscles warmed up. Now you can do more cardio as a cool down at the end of your workout. That can be, like 10 minutes since you've already put in 5 minutes at the beginning, or longer if you prefer. It's whatever you're able to do and how much time you have. But again, I emphasize that building muscle mass via free weights, resistance, and weighted machines is the primary goal in terms of losing weight, or if you want to increase the metabolic activity in your body.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying particularly you go to the gym and you just kind of incorporate like a small amount of cardio every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that fourth day, if you want to do that fourth day, you don't need to go running or something. You can go play, like tennis, go play like squash indoors, or go play some basketball or something like that. Cardio doesn't strictly have to be just running. You can incorporate cardio into a sport. And I feel like a lot of people get that misconception that, oh, I need to do cardio, I need to just go for a mile run. You can go play, you can go like play with your dog, or like go play with your kids, or go play with some friends with any sport, and that would incorporate that cardio as well.
Definitely.
And so now we're going to our second last question. What are some foods that people should avoid and people should incorporate as well into their diet? So particularly we'll start with bread. What do you guys think about bread? We can start with Dr. Khalid here.
Bread's a very simple source of carbohydrates, and generally speaking, the simpler the carbohydrates, the quicker the body goes through them, and any excess amount will get stored and eventually contribute to the fat production or fat content in your body. So bread, I would like to express, like, when you're doing most things in life, you should have this philosophy of moderation. So yes, carbs, you can eat bread. However, if you're going to eat bread, I would suggest picking the healthier option like wheat or rye bread, and something that has a little bit more complexity of carbs rather than plain white bread and things like that.
Yeah, well, because the thing with like plain white bread is it's so processed. When it goes to like the ATP synthase cycle, it kind of like it makes the best source of energy. However, it does have a big byproduct of fat as well. So that's why like the I guess like the burning rate, if you would want to think about it in mathematical terms, is that you're using like a worse source. It's like if you were putting gasoline in your car, you would want to put like a higher grade gasoline type of thing. I think that's like a decent analogy to put in there. So another thing is, what about fruits and vegetables? What do people need to work on over there? Because you ask people, oh, what fruits do you eat? And they go like, oh, I eat bananas and apples, which is good, that is fruit. And then you ask them what vegetables they eat, and they go like potatoes and like iceberg lettuce. What are some better fruits that you can eat, which are more like super fruits, and vegetables that you can eat, which are more super vegetables.
Yeah, so in terms of, foods, I would advise whoever's listening to, for a dietitian if they really want to get into the details of this, but variety is always good. In terms of fruit, like people like tell me they take like a certain supplement as a, um, pre-workout for the gym. And I always tell them, I'm like, why don't you try some fruit? And me personally, like an apple, oranges, um, maybe some cantaloupe or other, fruits. There's so many options out there. That is one of the best, cleanest pre-workouts, source of energy. Um, it gives you the simple carbs, but those aren't carbs coming from, processed foods. So that burns cleaner when you do need it at the gym, and it gives you a little bit, there's some natural vasodilatory effects in some of those fruits that help, with the workout at the gym. And then vegetables, yes, potato technically qualifies as a vegetable, but again, that's full of carbs. So I would advise variety with those and avoiding potato or identifying potato as a vegetable. You want to focus on more of the green, nutritious vegetables. And of course, lettuce doesn't have much of that. Romaine or iceberg.
Spinach and kale are like kind of the upper tier, like vegetables that you can have. Obviously, there's carrots and celery as well, which are all good. So, people should start incorporating that in their diet. So now going on discussion about diet, since it's a Desi-centered podcast, so anyone can chime in this topic. What is the best way, to have Desi food, but in the most healthiest way possible? So things like, okay, you're going to have salan, like how much chawal should you put, or like what type of chawal should you put, or I'm gonna have a naan with this, what type of naan should I have? Ali, you can incorporate, you can cooperate to this discussion as well. What have you done to like sort of combat the desi diet? I can say for myself personally that when I have like, normal like gosht, I have the gosht with me, and then I also put veggies, and eat it with the veggies as well, and then at the end, maybe having a half a naan, to like satisfy yourself. And obviously that naan should, or that java should be whole wheat. What do you think, Ali? What have you done?
I think at first I minimized the quantity like I was eating, like obviously I was so used to eat desi foods and stuff, and obviously being the fact that we are desis, we can't live without our desi food. So um I reduced the amount I was taking. Like let's say I used to eat like 4 rotis a day, and I reduced to two of them, and then obviously I focused on eating more over the lunchtime instead of eating more at over the dinner in the morning. So in the lunchtime, I still had time to kind of like burn those extra calories, or extra uh, uh, amount of desi food I had. So yeah, that's the technique I used, and I think we can't obviously live without our desi food. So being uh, there obviously there are ways that we can make them healthier, like we use less ghee. Obviously adding spices, that does not kind of like help you lose much of weight, but obviously if you use less sugar, less desi ghee and all that, that can help you um build and build more kind of like body metabolism, and burn more fats obviously. And adding salad to your diet, that's really helpful as well. Obviously in our, usually if we ever go to any shadi and stuff, there is a salad option available with our desi food.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should really add that to our diet.
Yep. Do you want to chime anything in, Dr. Khalid?
Yeah, I mean, he's got, he's mentioned several good points. But yeah, like cutting down on the amount of salt or the oil that gets put into our food, because it can still be flavorful, even without, those being necessarily heavy. If you look at something like the Mediterranean diet, which is quite flavorful, however, it manages to avoid a lot of those, oily and salty and, those type of cuisines. So it's okay to sacrifice a little bit on the flavor. You don't have to completely knock it out, because rich flavor is what makes food appetizing.
And also in terms of, spices, spice does, fill up the stomach, and capsaicin also helps, increase the metabolism process in your body. I'm not saying eating raw peppers is the best, but, having slightly some spicy food does help with metabolism.
Mhm.
Okay, so that concludes the podcast for today. We hit our last topic just right there. So thank you, Ali and Dr. Khalid, for joining me today on the podcast. It's our first episode, so I appreciate you guys tuning in, and you guys, Ali and Dr. Khalid, joining me. So peace and blessings be upon you guys. And thank you for showing up.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Together.
Yep.